Welcome or welcome back to Contour and Candor. This is the place where I am trying something that scares me. I am sharing some makeup tips from a very basic perspective, non-professional, and sharing what is on my mind. I am a woman with lots to say, probably more than I should. So anyway, yeah, let's get started. Today is going to be a reliving of something not so fun for me, but it kind of will help you understand how I am, where I am in my life today. So that is what we're going to do today. And I just realized I'm in vertical and not in horizontal, and we're just going to go with it because I don't want to start again. But all right, so let me tell you about Christmas 3.5 years ago. So I was working and living on St. Simon's Island, my favorite place in America. And I actually loved my job, which I'll be really honest, no offense to all of my former employers. But I censored there. I did censor. No offense to them, but I really did enjoy my job. I was the chief marketing officer of a national/international U.S. and Canada company. It was a small company, but had a lot of, how do I put this? Almost like franchises, and I was central office, basically, in the marketing, leading the marketing team, which was basically me. Yeah, so I got to do all kinds of fun things. I love being a small shop when it comes to marketing because I love to strategize. I love ideas. I'm a huge nerd about. I love processing the research and figuring out the strategy and all of that stuff. But I also love the creative side. I like coming up with, copy, print copy, radio copy. I've recorded radio ads. I've actually done a fair amount of design. Yeah, so I kind of love it all. I've ghostwritten for a lot of people. And been published nationally under their names, not mine, which used to really bother my nieces and nephews. But hey, if I could put something out that that I was proud of and that I thought forwarded a conversation that needed to be had, I didn't care whose name was on it. I just love the fact that by ghostwriting, I could get these things actually published. Because I was writing on behalf of prominent people whose names open doors. Anyway, so I love marketing. I love advertising, public relations, the whole gamut, social media. My favorite thing is branding. That is, if I could only pick one thing to do in that whole arena, it would, without question, be branding. Love it so much. Working on wrapping up a project now for a ministry that is an incredible ministry. I'm so proud to work with them. And yeah, I'm working on a branding project for them, helping to refine their brand. Excuse me. I still don't know what's going on with the whole throat thing. But yeah, love it all. So that I was working at a job I love, in a place I love. And a few days before Christmas, I started having this pain like right in the center of my chest. And I was like, is this an esophageal spasm? Because I've had that before. And it's extremely painful. And of course it starts at night when I'm in my jammies and, ready to go to bed. So I thought, okay, we'll see. I've had this before. It's not life-threatening. It's just kind of miserably uncomfortable, but it's going to be fine. Sorry. I don't like how that looks, so let me just do a little splash there. Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going to be fine. I think I took a hot shower that night, and the water against my chest sort of relaxed everything, and eventually I went to sleep. I was fine. And by morning, you know, it was pretty much gone. So I got up and went to work, as one does. And then at lunchtime or so, still not feeling quite great. And I thought, okay, we have an amazing urgent care on the island. And unfortunately, because I have lupus and I get bronchitis and I get more than my share of pneumonia and all kinds of things, I have been there. They know me. So I thought, okay, at lunch, I'm just going to run over to the walk-in clinic and they can just check me out. I'll be fine. So describe all my symptoms. They run the tests they're supposed to run. And they did say, okay, we're going to put you on, I want to say it's an EEG, you know, where they put things on you and then they see how your heart is beating and your rhythms are and all of that. And they had done blood work on me fairly recently for some kind of checkup. And so, like, I didn't have high cholesterol. I was pre-diabetic, which was not surprising. I was 105 pounds larger than I am today. That was not a good time in my life physically, for sure. But even with that, everything else looked pretty good. My heart rate, my blood pressure, all normal. Everything looked good. So I'm like, okay, esophageal spasm. So that night, it happened again. And it was really, really painful, really painful. And I'm thinking, what in the world is going on? So I went and, took another hot shower and went to work the next day and went back to urgent care at lunch and said, it's never lasted this long. This is really weird. And they said, okay, well, we're going to run a blood test and we'll let you know how what that says. We'll look for anything weird going on in your heart that might show up in your blood work. Okay, but we're pretty sure it's an esophageal spasm too, based on what you've described and what your history is, and what the rest of your tests are showing, right? So the next day is the 23rd of December. It is my last day in the office before heading out the next day to fly to my parents' house in Massachusetts for Christmas. Okay, so I get a call at work and they say, hey, there's something in your blood work that could indicate that you've had a cardiac incident or there's something going on in your heart. So just to be safe, we want you to go to the hospital and have it checked out. So I'm thinking, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And they said, no, I know you're getting ready for Christmas and everything, but they'll just do one other test there and then you'll know what's going on. And, you'll be on your way tomorrow. If only. So I drive myself to the hospital. Oh, I should say. So the office I was working in was on a very steep second floor. And I was fortunate in that I got the parking space like closest to the building. But even that, it's not right up against the building. It's a little ways away. So I walk down the stairs and I'm carrying, say goodbye to everybody. Hey, I don't think I'm going to be back by the end of the day because I've got to go to the hospital for this thing. So everyone have a Merry Christmas. God bless you. Enjoy time with your family. I'm out, right? So I'm walking down the stairs, and I feel terrible. I feel awful. But I'm a very heavy woman at this point. And so it's not terribly unusual to feel like you're burdened, like you're carrying a lot, because you actually are. And anyway, so carrying my stuff, walk into the car. I get to the car, and I am just so exhausted. I have no energy, and I like throw myself into the driver's seat. And I'm leaning against the door, and I'm just breathing, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Okay, what the heck is going on? So I wait. I'm stupid apparently at this point, but I'm not that stupid. So I wait, everything settles, feel relatively normal. And I drive myself to the hospital, which is across a causeway, because again, I live on an island. I lived at the time. Oh, to be back. And I drive over the causeway into this little town called Brunswick, which was our big town in the area. Our big little town where I had previously worked at a college in town. Sorry. If you're ever wondering why I have all kinds of sea themes, ocean themes, it's because of St. Simon's. It reminds me of home. Anyway, so go in, and of course, it's right before Christmas. Every kid in America has a cold, at least every kid in Brunswick. And there's a lot of sniffling going on in that emergency room. So I go in, I check in, my name, whatever. I tell them why I'm there. They're like, okay, have a seat, we'll get to you. So they did get to me. 2.5 hours later, I think. But during that time, a gentleman comes in, and he was in his early 30s, and he's holding his left arm, and he's sweating profusely. And I clock him from across the way, and I'm thinking, that guy's having a heart attack. And so he and his wife end up sitting next to me. So, very nice couple. And we are talking, and I tell them, they ask what's wrong, and I'm like, I'm fine. What's going on with you? Like, what's going on? Because he looks rough. And he tells me kind of what his symptoms are. And he tells me that he's scared because his dad died very young of a heart attack. So I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I said, you or your wife need to get up there, and you need to demand to be seen. You need to tell them that you are actively having a heart attack, and that they need to see you right now, and tell them that your dad died of a heart attack. Hold on one sec. All right, I'm back. I will figure out how to put those two videos together. Thank God for Canva. Okay, so I tell this guy he has to go. Demand to be seen. He does. He goes and he demands to be seen. Well, he's way nicer about it. And he goes back, and I never find out what happens, but I truly believe that I was in that emergency room for that man. And I just pray that he got the help he needed, and that he is able to be a dad to his kids, and husband to his wife. Anyway, so he goes in. I'm thrilled, but I'm still there. And by then I'm having back pain, and so this has been going on for like 2.5 hours. So I think, take your own advice. Something could be really wrong with you, and you need to advocate for yourself. And thank God I have had lupus for so many years because I have learned how to advocate for myself. So I went up and I said, "Excuse me, I know you are terribly busy, but I really don't want to die in your waiting room. I have an indication that something might be wrong with my heart. Could you please see if someone can see me now?" So the lady goes and gets somebody, and eventually they take me back relatively quickly after that. So lesson to everybody: advocate for yourself and others. But I am still convinced that this is an inconvenience. By now I'm probably 85, maybe 90% sure that this is just something. I'm going to feel ridiculous that I'm making a big deal out of this. But yeah, so they run one more test and they run another EEG. And of course my EEG comes back normal, but they're like, "Yeah, we're going to run one more test." I don't even remember what that is. And then they put me in not a waiting room, in my own little room in the emergency department. And let me just say, God bless the Brunswick Hospital there. It's called South Shore Health Systems, I think. And they actually had rooms for their patients. This is not always the case, as I know all too well. And it is certainly not the case up here in Massachusetts near me, in Plymouth. So I think they do have rooms, but they're not real rooms. And it's a total zoo. But this was great. I have my own little room. During this time, I am thinking, my poor dog. She's alone. She needs to go potty. I did have a dog walker who came and walked her during the day. But by now, it's getting later. She's going to need her dinner. And I'm worried because she's by herself. And my friend who lives next door or 2 doors down, she had already gone. Another dear friend, she has COVID. Another friend, her parents were coming in from out of town and I didn't want to bug her. So God bless my cousin, because she lives an hour and a half away, and I call. I'm like, "This is terrible. I'm in the hospital, in the emergency room. It's going to be a while," and I'm freaking out about Tilly. Well, she is as big or bigger, if even possible, a dog person as I am, and she says, "No problem. I'm coming up." So she gets in her car and she drives up from Jacksonville, Florida, from the St. Augustine side, for those of y'all who know. And anyway, so she drives on up, and she goes and lets my dog out and gives her dinner and love and comes and sees me. So shout out to you, Julie. Love you. So I don't know if it was before or after Julie got there, but the doctor comes in and he says, "We think you've had a mild heart attack." I'm like, great, drat. I mean, yay, it's mild, but B, I had a heart attack. And I am blaming myself like crazy because I had gained so much weight. If you care, this is an It Cosmetics superhero no tug. One of their, it's called Mighty Mauve. So I'm just putting a little of that on, or a lot, because it's not showing up very well. So I'm blaming myself, like, you did this to yourself. But the truth is, I also know I can't undo it at that moment. This is what it is. So this is the worst part. So I had to call my parents and say, "Hey, it looks like I've had a mild heart attack, but I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. Don't worry about this. At this point, I am still naively thinking I am coming up the next day, going to take a flight. But they're obviously totally freaked out. My mom, of course, is like, I'm coming. And I said, no, don't come. Like, we don't even know everything yet, so at least wait till we know more. So I get in a room, and I have to have a cardiac, what's it called? I keep wanting to say it like a catheterization of my heart. I don't think that's what cardiac. Anyway, it's where they stick a tube into your heart, and they can look around at everything and see blockages and all kinds of stuff. And I've had one before, and I won't get into that story, but thank God everything was great for the last one. And again, they've told me I've had a mild heart attack. So, you know, how bad can it be, right? So they keep saying, do you want us to sedate you? Are you serious? No. Like, you're sticking a needle in me. I can deal with that. And also, I want to see. I want to see the screen. I want to see what's going on. So we go in. I go in, and they run the tube in and inject dye, which if you've had that, it's the weirdest feeling. But I can't see the screen, and I'm bummed about that, because I really did want to see. And the last time I had it, they went in through my groin, and I was able to see everything. But for some reason, the way that I was positioned, I guess, in the screen, or maybe they just don't like the patient to be able to see. So afterwards, the doctor, while I'm still there, he's like, it's not great. Okay, it's not great. Okay. So then he comes into my hospital room later, and he says, so you have a very strange situation where your arteries are almost completely blocked, but they're like a lattice. So there's teeny weeny gaps, just enough for the blood to get through, so you're not dead. Okay then. He says, you're going to have a triple bypass. We don't do that here. But you can get it done in Jacksonville or Savannah. And anyway, so at that point, I have to call my parents and say, actually, I'm not coming for Christmas. And my mom had probably already made the reservation. She's like, I'm coming down. So on Christmas Eve, she came down. No, I think I convinced her to wait until Christmas so that she could do Christmas Eve stuff, or I don't know. It's getting foggy there. And my sweet friend Erin, I call Erin, and I'm like, I know your parents are there, but is there any way you can pick up my car? You and your husband, he can drop you. You can take because my car is here, and I'm not going home. Very sweetly, she did. She came and with Eric, her husband, and they picked up my car and took it home. And then I had to call her on Christmas and say, is there any way you could drop my car back off, because my mother is coming and she's going to need that car. She's a saint, my friend Erin. A saint, I tell you. But they did that. So the doctor came in when my mom was there, and my dad hates to fly, and at that time, it just seems like, okay, we're going to get through this. I'm otherwise healthy. Not really, but enough. So good prognosis. But they did say, because of the degree of blockages, I said to him, if we had not found this, how much longer could I have lived with this? He's like, maybe a week. Okay, so by then I'm thanking God that they found it. And, you know, I'm in the hospital. I'm trying to wrap up everything for work because I know, I'm going to have this surgery, blah, blah, blah. Work's being great. Nobody's expecting me to wrap up anything, but, you know, I'm not about to leave things undone. So they transferred me. I ended up going to the cardiac center at St. Vincent Hospital in Jacksonville, which is a very well-respected cardiac center. And I'm going to leave the story there, I think. Hold on, let me just do this part. Yeah. But again, I've not gone home. Julie took my dog with her. Yes. Back to her house because I was going to have to fly out of Jacksonville anyway, so we could, you know, I could pick her up, but now that's irrelevant. So Tilly, my sweet Tilly, joined her pack of dogs and hung out there while all this is going on. And that was a huge relief for me to know that she was taken care of. All right, so I think I'll stop here and I'll pick this up tomorrow. Let me just quickly finish this. Just, again, don't like to leave things undone. So let's slap some mascara on this face and call it a day. If you have questions about any products I used, why I did anything to my face the way I did it, I should probably check. Oh, the other day, the video I didn't end up posting because it was a bit of a train wreck. I realized that I didn't have my contact lens in. I got in the car to drive my car. I'm nearsighted, and this eye is corrected for so that I can see distance, and this is corrected. So, well, it's not corrected, actually. I have a contact I don't wear. But so I read out of this eye, I see distance out of this eye. But I get in the car and I look up in the mirror and I see, like, I had not blended things. It was a hot mess. So now I'm paying more attention. All right. I did not drive without putting the contact in. Just, okay. I'm a responsible grown-up, pretty much. So that's my story. If you have questions about my story so far, feel free. I'll see, you know, your memory gets a little foggy there. But yeah, I spent that Christmas in the hospital in Brunswick. Oh, one thing I'll say before we get me to St. Vincent's in, I think it's called St. Vincent's, yes, in Jacksonville. For my surgery, is I had to actually be accepted by the hospital. I had to, find the doctor, get him to accept me, get the hospital to accept me before I could be transferred. And the clock is ticking because the guy just told me that I have a serious issue here. And now I was on blood thinners, so the blood's getting through, I guess. Maybe that's why. I was on blood thinners already because I had had a stroke. Thank you again, lupus, for that gift. But maybe it was a gift because I was on blood thinners, and that, I wonder if that helped save me. Hadn't thought about that until just this second. But if my blood was thicker, maybe it wouldn't have gotten through those tiny little cracks in the lattice covering every single one of my major arteries. Food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest, it's mostly ladies at this point, and I don't know a lot of guys who want to watch me put on makeup. I'm just grateful anybody does while I talk about this stuff. So thank y'all. So that is my story so far. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. And yeah, I need to come up with a fun sign-off suggestions. Feel free to make suggestions in the comments. Okay, thank you. God bless.